The Francigena of the Sea is a route that was born as a result of the reading of a book, which is Appian by Rumitz, because it was right along the ancient Appian Way and then also along the Trajan Way that you could reach Brindisi, and from here you left again by sea for Greece and North Africa. In the Middle Ages, a lot of people came to Brindisi along this very important road to sail for Jerusalem. I was moved by the curiosity to understand what the route was like and the ports involved in this journey from Brindisi to Jerusalem. We have rediscovered it, we have highlighted it, and we have seen that from Brindisi the route reached various ports in Greece, as far as Cyprus, to arrive then in Beirut in Lebanon, and then Tyre, sailing along the coast, and in the end St. John of Acre, port of Jerusalem. The route that we propose again is taken from the diary of a pilgrim who traveled among Frederick of Swabia in 1228 and reached the following landing places: Brindisi, Italy; Otranto, Italy; Kefalonia, Greece; Methoni, Greece; Crete, Greece; Rhodes, Greece; Famagosta, today Gazimagusa; island of Cyprus, Turkish part; Albatruni, probable Al-Baruti, today Beirut, in Lebanon; Acre, Israel. It is well known that from Brindisi you sailed for the Orient. This itinerary has been followed for centuries by merchants, legionnaires, scholars. But what was the sea route that had to be performed in order to finally arrive at the coast of the Eastern Mediterranean Sea like? An example is offered by Frederick II's itinerary. In 1228, he and his fleet sailed from the port of Brindisi. From Brindisi, one sailed following the current that along the coast of the Adriatic Sea goes from north to south towards the first landing place, Otranto. From Otranto, one sailed towards the coast, arriving off the coast of Corfu. From Corfu along the Ionian Islands, you came to round the Peloponnese Cape or Morea, as the Venetians called it, to sail for Crete. The trade relations with Crete had been centuries old. It is sufficient to think that most part of the icons which are in Apulian churches came from the island. It was a commerce managed by the Venetians. The Venetians generally stopped in Brindisi, but also in the other Apulian ports, to get in a supply of foodstuffs, wine in particular, that they sold again in the east. It is actually a kind of commercial triangle. The ships sailed empty from Venice, they loaded in Apulia, sold in the Orient, sailed back with eastern goods, which were obviously resold in the regions in which they landed, achieving the surplus which derives from a commercial activity. From Crete towards Rhodes, the Islands of Roses, which was Italian from 1912 to the end of World War II, but for centuries a domain of the Knights of St. John of Jerusalem, then of Rhodes, today of Malta. Once the last Christian stronghold in the Holy Land had fallen, namely St. John of Acre, towards the end of the 13th century, the Knights of St. John of Jerusalem aimed at a new mission that consisted in guaranteeing the security of the Christian commercial routes. Then they organized for a big fleet that sailed from Brindisi and that, in 1310, ended up with the conquest of Rhodes, which remained under their dominion till 1520, when they couldn't withstand the umpteenth Ottoman assault, and therefore had to give up the island, after a resistance which went on till the end. Once they were expelled by force from Rhodes, the knights looked for another site. One of the requests that they made was Brindisi, for which they offered a huge sum equal to a year of the tax revenue of the Netherlands. But Charles V did not surrender. The emperor in the end came to the decision to give them Malta, which then remained till the Napoleonic period, under their control, and from which the current name of the order derives, of the Knights of Malta. The order constitutes a sovereign state, also without territory. From Rhodes as far as Cyprus, a very beautiful island, at that time under the dominion of the Christian princes, and it will remain such that for a long time. Then it will pass under the control of Venice to be then like Rhodes conquered by the Ottomans. This was a conquest, like in the case of Rhodes, for which the Turks paid a high price. Finally, the Lebanon. Frederick landed near Beirut, which is the capital of Lebanon, a beautiful city devastated by the civil war, which went on for 20 years in that area. Then from Beirut, St. John of Acre, often with a stop in the splendid ancient Tyre. St. John of Acre was the ultimate Christian port, the most important landing place for the Holy Land, from which Frederick II moved inland. In St. John of Acre, all the monastic knightly orders had their see, from exactly the Knights of St. John to the Templars, the Teutonic Knights, the Knights of St. Lazarus. Therefore, the loss of St. John of Acre, by the end of the 13th century, marks the end of Western deeds in the Orient. The sea route from Brindisi to Jerusalem was born in this way. We are happy to have found it again and mapped on a navigational chart, with the hope they will be relaunched together with the dialogue between peoples and cultures that for centuries have been so close.